What's going on, Summoners? My name is JHIN, and today we're going to be talking about 10 ultimates that everyone uses wrong. Ultimates can be pretty game-changing in League. Now just imagine if you use them to their maximum potential. Regardless, before we dive into the video, don't forget to subscribe so that you guys don't miss out on our special content curated by our high elo analysts and coaches. Nonetheless, let's jump right in. The first ultimate that we'll be looking at will be Bard's Tempered Fate. On release, this ultimate was seen as one of the most unique abilities in the game. Its ability to put objectives and enemies into a stasis made it a very difficult ability to use, as well as something that's extremely powerful when put in the right hands. The issue is, you can also hit your allies with this long-range CC ability, which means you can actually end up being the downfall of your team's potential victory. That being said, many players will use Bard's ultimate for objective control and team fights. This isn't the worst way to use this ultimate, since it will let you and your team engage a fight and safely enter the area, but it's definitely pretty situational and can actually be used in a better way, so that you can secure your team the victory. As Bard, your ultimate has a super long range and a pretty large AoE. It also helps that its cast time is relative to how far you are from your target. Since it can be pretty hard to dodge, use Bard's ultimate to get picks before an objective. Many players will underestimate your ability to pick them out and will push up for CS. Once you see that someone is alone, ping your team and ult the enemy. Combined with your E, you can lead your team right into a free pick, which can end up turning the tides of a team fight and or objective. Worst case scenario is you try to pick them out and they end up burning Flash, which in the end is still worth it. Next up, we've got JHIN and his Curtain Call. This ability is yet another unique ultimate that can be pretty interesting to play with and against. It allows JHIN to deal massive amounts of damage from extremely far away. This damage potential tends to force JHIN players into ulting from long range, and in cases where they're fed, reduces their damage. While it's great to use JHIN's ultimate to deal additional damage, it also offers a ton of area control due to the enemy's fear of getting hit. With Curtain Call, don't be afraid to use it as a way to help your team get a pick and or walk your team into an objective. If you see someone caught out and your team can follow up, ulti them so that they're slowed and your team can follow up. An additional way to use your ultimate is to help clear an objective site. If you and your team have to blindly walk into Dragon or Baron, you can position yourself to ult the different bushes and or pit so that you know you and your team aren't walking into a death trap. It's hard to master which situations to pull off each of them in, but if you keep them in the back of your mind, it can heavily increase your playmaking potential. Sticking to the role of ADC, we've got Miss Fortune and her infamous bullet time. Everyone knows Miss Fortune for her ability to wipe a team with her ultimate, as it unleashes waves of high damage bullets from a pretty big distance. Now that being said, most players will only ever use her ultimate if it means dealing damage to enemy champions. What people fail to realize is that her ultimate can be very powerful when you're managing waves. If you've been to our wave management courses, you know how important it is to crash waves and get good back timers. Miss Fortune's already high movement speed from her W makes it so that she can get back to lane even faster than her opponent. If you're in a lane where you absolutely have to shove the wave, especially after killing the enemy, don't waste your recall timing attempting to shove the wave with auto attacks and Qs. Instead, use your ultimate to force the wave to crash so that you can go for a kill after your recall once it bounces back. Again, it will take practice to recognize the best situations to do this in, but keep in mind that it's unlikely you'll be using your ultimate in lane for kills. But before we continue with the video, don't think that we've forgotten about our iconic question of the day. What is your favorite ultimate in the game? Now personally, I love using Zed's ultimate. I know it's kind of a cliche with a 5-finger exploding death palm, but I'm a big fan of "Omae wa mou shinderu." And let me know your answers in the comment section below. Now then, let's hop back into the video. Pulling us straight into the Thunderdome, we've got Mordekaiser. Mord's ultimate is traditionally used as a way to gain free stats and turn any fight into a 1v1. While this can be extremely useful in a lot of situations, a lot of Mordekaisers forget how powerful their ultimate is as a CC tool. If you're behind as Mordekaiser, it's unlikely you'll be killing any vital targets by locking them in your arena. With this in mind, as a Mordekaiser who has fallen behind, you can build a Zhonya's and become essentially an ult bot. Your job will be to ulti a target that is demolishing your team. Ideally, you'll put them into your dome and stall them as long as possible. This is where Zhonya's comes into play. If the enemy is extremely strong, you'll be able to ult, kite them around a bit, and then finally use your Zhonya's to stall them for the full duration. Hopefully, with this target removed from the fight, your team will be able to win the team fight. This tactic is especially powerful when the enemy has all of their gold on one carry. Next up, we've got Riot's newest champion, VIEGO. VIEGO is an extremely complex champion who constantly relies on fast-paced decision-making and overall high levels of judgment. Picking up the wrong champion can end up making you extremely squishy and thus loses your team the fight. Now that being said, his ultimate tends to be what he's played around. Its ability to reset when he possesses a new champion means that he's able to not only dish out an immense amount of damage, but he's also able to be extremely mobile. Many VIEGOs forget the mobility portion of his ultimate and tend to only use it for its damage. More often than not, possessing a champion solely for the ultimate reset can allow you to close the gap between you and a vital carry. Don't be afraid to ult immediately after possessing someone so you can get in range with your W and go in for the kill. Speaking of SAMIRA, her ultimate also seems to be pretty basic. She builds up her style over time so that she can eventually use her ultimate. Once she gains enough stacks, she just presses R and calls it good. Well, this isn't always the case. In terms of SAMIRA, sometimes the best way to use her ultimate is to hold on to it and or not use it at all. Her ultimate not only slows you, but it also makes you lose the additional movement speed bonuses you've gained from your passive stacks. When the enemy has hard CC, or you have to kite around, be sure to hold your ultimate for the right moment. If not, you'll end up engaging and getting it cancelled almost immediately. Plus, if you have to kite an enemy like Darius, having that high movement speed from your passive can actually save you. Charming us into focus, we've got the nine-tailed fox, AHRI. AHRI is well known for her high mobility and burst potential. She's able to assassinate powerful carries in the blink of an eye and escape before the enemy team even knows what's hit them. That being said, many AHRI players mistakenly use their ultimate charges for the minimal amount of damage it provides. While you shouldn't completely ignore the damage you can do, using your ultimate just for the additional DPS will end up getting you killed more often than not. Instead, use AHRI's ultimate as a powerful repositioning tool, similar to how you wouldn't want to use Ezreal's E to deal damage by jumping into a team. Be sure to use your ultimate almost like a flash. It can be a vital way to dodge skill shots, hop walls, and overall, open up opportunities for you to catch your opponents by surprise. Don't be afraid to use your ultimate to dash near the enemy for an easier charm rather than dashing up to their face for damage. It's a hard habit to get into, but it's well worth it in the end. If you're enjoying tips and tricks like this, don't forget that we're still doing a ProGuides subscription discount. You can use the discount code RANKUP2021 to get 20% off your next subscription. If you've never used ProGuides before and are serious about climbing this season, head over to ProGuides.com and enter the code so that you can claim your sweet deal and gain access to exclusive guides, courses, and even coaching. Don't miss out on this amazing opportunity. Now let's get back into the video. While we're on the topic of supports, we can't leave out JANNA. JANNA's ultimate is well known for its ability to disengage fights since it works as a massive Xin Zhao ultimate. If the enemy has someone like Rengar or Talon, picking JANNA can often be a game changer when trying to protect a hyper carry like Jinx. While using her ultimate in this manner is the best and most ideal, sometimes JANNA players forget that it offers a pretty decent chunk of healing, especially in the early game. This ultimate should not be held early as a pure disengage tool, especially versus lanes where it's not as useful to knock enemies away. Remember that it heals a nice amount. Don't be afraid to heal you and your ADC early on, so that you can win the lane in the long run and or avoid dives. RYZE is a fairly complicated champion, and his ultimate doesn't help his case either. Teleporting such a short distance, especially early game, isn't really that impactful. While it does help you escape ganks, until you reach the later points in the game, it's pretty useless and tends to only be leveled up since it gives you damage on your Q. One thing that extremely high elo RYZE players do is use their ultimates for wave management. Made popular by top lane RYZE, using your ultimate to force your wave to crash into the enemy turret can be a game changer. If the enemy can freeze your lane, sometimes it puts you in a losing situation, where no matter what, you'll end up repeatedly dying. At this point, you can ult your ally minions into the enemy turret to either break a freeze, or overall, stop one from ever happening. It takes quite a bit of practice and is fairly situational, but be sure to keep this one in the back of your head, whether you're playing as RYZE or against him. And the last person on our list is none other than KALISTA. This Spear of Vengeance is a champion that is not often seen in the ADC role anymore. Regardless, she holds immense power in the right hands due to her ability to kite out the enemy and force fights with her support and or jungler. Her ultimate is yet another pretty basic ability. She ulties her ally and they engage a fight by either chaining their CC or just using the free knockup. Many players, especially due to playing solo, fail to realize just how powerful her ultimate can be with even the slightest amount of synergy. For example, if paired with a Thresh, you can have one of the strongest anti-ganking tools in the game. If you see the enemy jungler and you know you don't win the 3v2, you can ulti thresh towards your turret and have him lantern you. Another good use can be extending the hook of someone like Blitzcrank. While it takes some practice, if you ulti as soon as the Blitzcrank hook connects, you'll be able to massively extend the range. Finally, to add some simplicity to her ultimate versatility, you can use it to bait out key abilities. If you have an enchanter like JANNA or Lulu, you can often bait the enemy with them. The enemy will see them as a free pick and may use things like an Ashe ultimate, Nautilus hook, Sejuani ultimate, etc. Once they cast their ability, simply ult your support out of the dangerous situation and either re-engage with your team or take the free enemy cooldown and use it for pressure. The possibilities are endless, so be sure to look around for some additional interactions. Don't forget to join our ProGuides family at ProGuides.com or through our Discord with the link down below. We offer exclusive giveaways and classes that you won't catch anywhere else, so stay tuned. Nonetheless, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day.